Hey guys, it's Pastor Ian. Thank you for joining us once again for Epic Students Online, another week. Listen, I tell you guys this pretty much every week. I miss you guys so much, but I miss you a whole lot more than normal this week because this week, today I guess, is my birthday. I'm turning a certain age today, I'll tell you in a little while, but I had some big plans for us tonight. We were gonna throw down, man. We were gonna have a party with cake and ice cream and pizza and games and all that kind of stuff. But so I miss you guys even more than normal this week. I was really looking forward to celebrating with you tonight, but hey, we're together online. We can celebrate that way. But with that being the case, we're gonna do some things a little bit different tonight, okay? A couple of quick announcements and we're gonna jump into what I have planned for you guys. The first announcement is Fine Arts Online. I told you about this last week. I'm not going to go into all the details tonight. You need to sign up for this. If you got any kind of talent, music, singing, acting, dancing, preaching, drumming, I don't know why that popped in my head, art, photography, any of that kind of stuff, you need to sign up. I know that there are so many of you who have these talents. On May 15th, we're going to showcase your talents on YouTube Live for the whole church to see, or just a huge celebration of you and the talent that you have. You need to sign up for this. The link is in our Instagram bio. It's in the description of this YouTube video. You need to be part of this. Listen, by next Wednesday, if you have not signed up yet, those of you who I know have these talents and abilities, I am for real going to just put your name out there on the internet, put you on blast, like, hey, you need to sign up, right? Like Riley, you need to sign up for dance. Carlos, you need to sign up for art. That's just an example of all the names that I'm gonna be calling out starting next week. So sign up, link in the description. Other thing, Zoom calls. We're doing Zoom calls on Tuesdays for middle schoolers, Thursdays for high schoolers. We didn't have very many of you join us in the middle school call yesterday, but we're gonna still keep that going for another week or two, just kind of hopefully get some momentum going. High schoolers, I strongly encourage you to join us for that Zoom call tomorrow at 4:00 p.m. We're just gonna kind of talk through some of what we've been reading in the book of John so far. We got, and just hang out together, catch up. It's just gonna be great to see your faces. The link is on our Instagram bio in the link tree, and also I will message it to you on the Instagram chat and on text message if I have your numbers. If you aren't involved in any of those things, you want to be part, just reach out to us on Instagram at epic_students. All right, and then finally, also in our Instagram bio, also in the link in the description of this video, is our reading plan through the book of John. We want you guys to be part of that. We are on day 7 today. It's okay if you haven't started yet. Just jump in with us. Read chapter 7 tonight, chapter 8 tomorrow. Listen, I have missed some days. I've had to play catch up a couple of times. Sometimes I've read some stuff on my computer instead of on the app, so it doesn't track it. But that's okay. Hopefully you're reading along with us through the book of John. But if you're not, it's not too late to get involved and to jump on with us. The link for that is again in the description of this video and on our Instagram bio. Last thing, real quick. Last week we did a caption contest. I showed you this picture and asked you guys to caption it. We put it on Instagram. The winning caption actually goes to Alexis Nolan, who wrote "When Grandma Brings Christmas Presents." There were some really good ones, so it was hard to choose, but that's the ultimate winner. And so tonight is our final caption contest. We're not going to do this anymore, at least this way, after tonight. No more embarrassing pictures of me for caption contest purposes, at least. We might do like a montage of everything that got left out next week, but for tonight, as the grand finale, if you will, I need you guys to caption this picture. All right, just go ahead, roast me, do what you need to do, put it in the YouTube comments, send it to me in a text message, or submit it on our Instagram story. It'll be up there in just a little while. All right, so that's that. We're gonna jump now straight into the message. No extra stuff tonight, just straight into the word that I have for you. As many of you guys know, we started a series last week called, originally enough, the book of John. We did that because we wanted to complement the reading plan that we're doing through the book of John. And so the goal was to just choose a chapter or a passage of scripture in the book of John and kind of preach through that each of the next 4 weeks as we're doing this reading plan. But I was thinking today, and the last time that my birthday was on a Wednesday, I was turning 30 years old. So it was 5 years ago, right? And we had this party. as part of that party, I shared a list of 30 things that I had learned in my 30 years of life up to that point, and we called it 30 for 30. We named it after a sports documentary series on ESPN. So tonight, while we're still going to be in our series on the book of John, I want to do something very similar to what I did on my birthday 5 years ago when it was on a Wednesday. And I want to share with you guys a list of 35 things that I have learned in my 35 years that I think would be beneficial to you. A lot of these things were on the original list 5 years ago, that 30 for 30 list, and some of them are brand new. So with a few examples and morsels and tidbits from the book of John, from what we've read through the book of John so far, mixed in with this stuff, I present to you 35 for 35 things that I've learned in my first 35 years of life that I think you should know. The first one has been the first one for 5 years. Eat what you like and you'll like what you eat. Here's what I mean. I am a picky eater and I have no shame in that, okay? Whatever I like, that's what I'm gonna eat. When I go to a restaurant, I order what I know I'm gonna like because that's money. And why am I gonna spend money on something I don't know if I'm gonna like? I'm just gonna eat what I like because that's what I like, all right? Number two, big risks are worth taking. And I know that's kind of contradictory, right, to what I just said. But I just don't take food risks. I take big risks in life. Sometimes I take big risks in faith. Sometimes I'm not a big food risk kind of person. But seriously, big risks are worth taking. If you're praying about a risk and you're worried about the potential consequence, just trust in God, have faith, and understand that big risks are worth taking. Number three, you cannot connect with someone by staring at them from across the room. Go talk to people. Listen, I know you can't go talk to people right now, okay? But this is something that I've learned in my 35 years of life. Many of you guys know that I used to be that awkward homeschool kid who would stare at people from across the room and hope that they'd come talk to me. That doesn't work. Life's too short to hope that people connect with you. Go out and connect with others. Make friends. Tell them your story. Share the love of Jesus with them. Go and talk to people. Number four, don't take your cell phone swimming with you. I learned that lesson several years ago when I did literally exactly that. Me and my son swimming in a pool, get out, cell phone, gone. My dad did not learn that lesson because a couple years after that, he did the exact same thing. And I got to tell him, hey man, you should have learned from my experience. You should have listened to me. All right, number five, dream big and never give up. Listen, man, some of you guys have some huge dreams. Some of you guys have some God-sized dreams, some dreams that I'm so excited to get to hear. You know, anytime I get to listen to you guys talk about your dreams, it just pumps me up. And I'm so psyched to be able to be on your support team, hopefully. But don't give up on those dreams. Even in the midst of this pandemic and everything's kind of discouraging and all that stuff, don't give up on your dreams, right? Dream big, never give up. Number six, you are more than the sum of your mistakes. I want to say that one again. You are more than the sum of your mistakes. See, a lot of times the enemy tries to convince us that we're nothing more than a screw up. We're nothing more than the worst things that we have done. And that's just not true. In John chapter 4, we read about the story of this woman who's at the well. She's at the well in the middle of the day because she's trying to avoid the judging eyes of her peers. Everybody else goes in the morning. She shows up in the middle of the day. Jesus is there. He's talking to her. He's like, hey, give me some water. She's like, I'm a Samaritan. You're a Jew. You're not supposed to talk to me. Don't you understand that? He's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And they talk some more, and they're kind of talking through some of these. He's like, hey, go get your husband. She's like, I don't got no husband. She's like, I know you ain't, but you been had 5 husbands, and the guy you're living with now ain't even your husband, so what's up? And so that's when we kind of realized that this woman had been, the reason she was there at 12 is she'd been judged by so many people as nothing more than the sum of her mistakes. When most people looked at her, they didn't see her potential, they didn't see her value or her worth. They just saw her sins, her mistakes, her failures. And so many times when we look at the mirror or when other people look at us, that's all that we see is our flaws, our failures, our mess ups. But you are so much more than the sum of your mistakes. And in this passage, Jesus saw this woman as so much more than that. And he actually used her and her willingness to trust in him to save an entire village from their sins. This entire city put their faith in Jesus because this one woman realized, hey, I have worth, I have value. I'm no longer going to worry about what other people think about me. I'm going to run and tell them that I have met the Messiah. Okay, that was a lot. Number 7, you are probably not as smart as you think you are. Listen, I'm not calling you dumb. I'm not calling you stupid. You may be incredibly smart. There's areas in my life in which I'm incredibly smart, but to me, it has been so helpful to have this attitude of I'm probably not as smart as I think I am. Instead of telling people what I do know, let me find out what I don't know. All right, so just approach life like that. Hey, you're probably not as smart as you think you are. You don't know all the things you think you know. And then kind of in conjunction with that, number 8 is listen to people who've been there and done that and learn from their mistakes. Parents. See, most of you guys, at least I'm pretty sure all of you, have parents in your lives who have done some of the things that you're doing now. They've gone through the stage of life that you're in now. And our instinct is kind of, you don't know what you're talking about. But they do. They know what they're talking about. So understanding that you're probably not as smart as you think you are, be willing to listen and learn from your parents and learn from their mistakes. Maybe you don't have to do things exactly the way that they did or would have, but they're a huge resource that God has placed in your life. So lean on them. Number 9, don't text and drive or eat and drive or do anything else and drive. Just drive. See, I'm still trying to learn this one, and many of you guys know I'm not the world's greatest driver. I've never claimed to be, but it helps a lot if you're not distracted by other things. Number 10, Vin Diesel is a terrible actor. There's nothing else to say there. That's just something that I've learned in my 35 years of life. Terrible, terrible actor. Number 11, if you put God first in your life, everything else will work out for you. A really smart dude named Jesus said that in Matthew 6:33. If you put God first, everything else will work out. Our instinct as humans so many times is to worry about this and that and them and those, and then kind of put Jesus on the back burner, put God on the back burner. But if we put God first and elevate Him as the most important part of our lives, everything else will work out, I promise. Number 12, don't let your failures determine your future. Don't let your failures determine your future. I shared this on our lightning round for John chapter 5, which, by the way, if you're not checking out our lightning rounds on Instagram and YouTube every single day, you absolutely should, because it's not just me, it's some students, it's some of our other leaders, and they're bringing some fire, man. They're really digging into these devotionals. They're doing a great job, so make sure you're checking those out on IGTV and on YouTube. But a couple of days ago, I brought it for John chapter 5, and this guy, this lame man in John chapter 5, and he's kind of hanging out at the pool, right? And hold on, let me pull it up for you so that I make sure I get it correct. And it's this pool where people got to get healed, and Jesus walks up to this dude and he's like, "Hey man, would you like to get well?" And he says, "I can't, sir." And the reason he says that is because all the other times for 38 years that he's come to this pool, he's not able to get in the pool. Somebody else always gets in there before him, and Jesus said, "Hey, would you like to get well?" He's like, "I can't." His mindset is, I can't get well this time because of all the other times that I failed to get well in the past. And so tonight I want to encourage you, don't let your failures determine your future. No matter what you've gone through in the past, no matter what you've experienced or how many times you feel like you've fallen down or failed, don't let that determine the next step that you take, because God can do bigger things in your life than you can ever even imagine. Number 13, loving people is more important than practicing religion. I'm kind of ashamed as to how long it took me to learn this lesson, but it's so incredibly true. And actually in John chapter 5, we see that, right? These after Jesus heals that man, these Pharisees are like, "Dude, who told you could carry your mat?" He's like, "Man, that guy healed me." And they start freaking out. They're like, "Jesus, it is the Sabbath. You know you cannot heal people on the Sabbath. What's wrong with you?" And Jesus is like, "Dude, listen to me. There's way more important things in life, excuse me, than following your rules that you've made up, right? Yeah, we're supposed to honor the Sabbath and all that kind of stuff, but we're supposed to love people before any of that, right?" And he goes into this whole thing. He says, "For the Father loves the Son and shows him everything he's doing." He says, "Hey, everything I'm doing comes from God, right? And what I'm all about is helping people." So again, loving people is more important than practicing religion. Number 14, if you try to live up to everybody else's expectations, you will lose sight of who you are. Everybody around you is going to put a certain set of expectations on you. Culture, your friends, your family, your teachers, your parents. And again, I'm not saying you shouldn't try to live up to those expectations, but at the end of the day, you have to be who God created you to be. You have to be the you who God created you to be, even if that means that you're a 35-year-old white dude who wears snapbacks and Jordans and listens to hip hop and Swedish pop music. You have to be the version of you who God created you to be. Please. Number 15, you will never fully understand your parents until you are one, which for many of you, for all of you, will not be for at least 10 years. But give your parents the benefit of the doubt. They really do have your best interests in mind. I know many of you guys probably clash with your parents all the time. I know that I clashed with my parents all the time when I was your age. But now looking back, I realized, man, they knew what they were talking about a lot more than I gave them credit for. Right? Sometimes I was right, but 9 out of 10 times they were, and they really did. And 10 out of 10 times they really did have my best interest in mind. 16, friends come and go. So value the ones you have, treasure the memories of the ones that you've lost, and learn from both so you can be a better friend in the future. You know, my wife Tiana shared this with our girls a couple months ago, but you know, it's just so important to understand that your friendships don't define you, but they can help you become who you are. They don't define you, but they can help refine you into who God's created you to be. So, you know, don't hold grudges, don't shed tears over lost friendships, because friendships come and go. Sometimes they come and they go and they come back. But just value the ones you have, treasure the memories of the ones that you've lost, and learn from them both so you can be a better friend in the future. Number 17, just because you don't like or understand something doesn't mean the people who love it are weird. Everyone is different. Here's the deal. I don't get anime, but I love a ton of people who love anime. Those people are really important to me, even though some of their interests and hobbies don't make a ton of sense to me. That doesn't matter, because they're still awesome and amazing people. We just don't have that specific interest in common. They don't understand necessarily my love for sports or shoes or whatever. All right, so here's that. Number 18, Star Wars is overrated. Again, kind of sounds a little contradictory after I just said that I like the Star Wars movies. They're cool. I guess what I'm really saying here is that's just one specific example of people, a subset of culture that I just don't understand how people could be that big into Star Wars. The movies, especially the newest trilogy, they're all right, they're okay, they're good, but I don't love them or anything. But again, those of you who love Star Wars, I love you. You're amazing. We just don't have that in common. Number 19. I learned this one a few years ago. It doesn't matter how skinny you are or how fast your metabolism is now. There will come a day when you can no longer eat 12 double stuffed Oreos and not feel horrible about your life. It happened to me a few years ago. It was a sad day. Number 20, invest in the people and the things that you believe in. Invest your time, your energy, and when you get older, your finances. Invest that in things and people that you believe in. All right? Invest your prayers, invest your friendships, your relationship abilities, invest in people who believe in and people who are going the same direction that you want to go. Number 21, music can change your life and impact the kinds of choices you make in good ways and in bad ways. So listen carefully. All right, music can be an influence over our lives. So we should always, I'm not telling you what to listen to. I'm just telling you, be careful what you listen to and pay attention to how it's influencing your life. Number 22, basketball is the greatest sport ever invented because it brings people together. It's a team sport. It's the truest of the team sports. But also, I can beat any single one of you students listening to this at one-on-one. I think, unless someone's listening that maybe I don't know that well and is really good. But also, yeah. Anyways, number 23, challenge ideas, ask questions, research things. Don't just take somebody's word for it, okay? It's my prayer that every single one of you has a deep faith and belief in God and in a great relationship with Him. But it's also my prayer that not a single one of you, that none of you has that relationship based on things that I've said. Or based only on things that I've said, rather, or based only on things that Pastor Mark has said or your parents have said. Your faith needs to be your faith. Your relationship with God needs to be your relationship. So don't just take things at face value. And I don't mean just religion things. I mean, political things, just any kind of information. Challenge ideas. Don't be rebellious. Don't challenge them for the sake of challenging them, but dig into things. Find stuff out for yourself. Number 24, God can and will use you to do bigger things than you can ever imagine if you're willing to trust Him. In John chapter 6, and Alice and Dottie shared this one with us on one of our lightning rounds. Jesus is, he's hanging out with, I'm trying to pull this up on my Bible app here. So Jesus is, here we go, sorry about that. He's hanging out and he's preaching, he's teaching all these people. And everybody's starting to get hungry, and there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people. The text says 5,000 men, and so many people believe it's closer to 20,000 when you include women and children. And he's like, hey, we need to feed these people. And they're like, dude, what are you talking about? We don't got nothing. And then verse 7, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, spoke up. He said, there's a young boy here with 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. What good is that for this huge crowd? And Jesus says, hey, I got this. If he's willing, I got this. And so he took the loaves, he gave thanks to God and distributed them. Afterwards, he did the same with the fish, and they all ate as much as they wanted. And then they gathered 12 baskets full of scraps. But here's the thing. He says, but what good is that? And Simon Andrew says, hey, this is what we've got, but what good is that? And so many times we're like, hey man, this is what I'm good at, but what good is that? Here's where I'm talented, here's the gifts that God's given me, but what good is that? Here's what I have to offer, but what good is that? If we're just willing to trust God with the gifts and talents and abilities and callings that He's given to us, He will show us what good that is. He will show us how much He can do, how much greater He can do with those things than we could ever ask, hope, or imagine. Number 25, America is a great country. We should all work together, not fight with each other to make sure it stays that way. That's a firm belief in mine. We need to work together more than we need to fight with one another. Except, of course, for Ohio and West Virginia, we should kick them out. I don't like those states. I don't like those. No, especially Ohio. I'm from Michigan, born and raised. Ohio, no way. Number 27, you can learn a lot from people who look, think, and believe differently than you. You just have to be willing to listen. So these people who believe and think and look and act differently than you, they have so much to teach us, but we just have to be willing to close our mouths, open our ears, and listen. God can use them to change our lives. He can use us to change their lives, but we have to first be willing to listen. Number 28, we've all messed up and we all need grace. Nobody is better than anybody else. And so we should live and love that way. It goes back to this idea that loving others is more important than practicing religion. If all of us are messed up, then we need to treat everybody as equals, no matter if their mess ups are more public than ours or not. Number 29, it is okay to have doubts and concerns about God and what's happening in the world. But it's also okay not to have all the answers. I used to be at a place in my life where I had all these big questions about, if God, then why? If God, then what? And I wanted to understand everything. And then I realized, hey man, it's okay for me to not have every single answer to all of my questions. It's okay for me to not fully understand where God's coming from with every single aspect of this, because again, I shared this with you guys a few weeks ago. I don't want a God who I understand completely, because that means that I could do His job. And that's not what I'm looking for. But it's okay to have those doubts and questions and concerns. Bring them to God. Do that research. Ask those questions. Do that digging. Number 30, when you judge a book by its cover, you might miss out on a great story. I've met with and interacted with so many different teenagers who people judged them by the cover of their books, and they missed out on amazing stories. So don't do that. Number 31, North Carolina is better than Michigan and South Carolina and Florida and especially Ohio. I love it here in North Carolina. If you're privileged enough to call this place home, you are lucky. Again, I spent the first 22, 23 years of my life in Michigan, and Michigan's great. It's home, man. I love the mitten. But North Carolina is a whole lot better. Number 32, relationships are hard. And I don't just mean romantic relationships. I mean relationships of any kind. Friendships, relationships with your parents, romantic relationships, yes. But relationships are hard. But when you're frustrated with someone, remember that you are just as frustrating as they are. Maybe more so. I had to learn this so many different times when I get frustrated with people and they think they weren't doing things the way I thought they should or whatever. And then finally, well, also I'm frustrating them just as much, if not more. So maybe I need to kind of take the plank out of my own eye before I talk about the speck in theirs. It's a scripture reference for those of you who maybe don't know. All right, number 33, we're coming down the home stretch. As soon as you have kids, you start making dad jokes. It's like inevitable. And then the dad bod comes not too long after that. Or maybe that's the double stuffed Oreos. But anyways, it happens. It's going to come for, gentlemen out there. As soon as you have kids, you're going to start making those dad jokes, and the dad bod's coming for you. Number 34, Teenagers are some of the most misunderstood, most resilient, and most amazing people in the world, and I'm so glad that I'm not one anymore. Listen, I understand that as of today, I haven't been a teenager for 16 years or 15 or 16, however long it is, all right? But you guys are amazing, man. It is, I believe it's harder to be a teenager today, right now in this culture, than it's ever been throughout history. And so I'm not jealous of where you're at, but at the same time, I think you guys are amazing. You're so creative, you're energetic, you have so many great ideas. I love you guys so much because of what you bring to the table. I think a lot of people misunderstand you. Maybe they just don't have the patience to listen and understand where you're coming from. But you guys have so much to offer the world. You don't have to wait until you graduate college or till you get a career. You can change the world right now, as long as you're willing. And the number 35 is a phrase you've heard me say a lot the last 6 months. It's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. It is okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. Tomorrow, in our reading plan, we'll read John chapter 8, and it tells the story of a woman caught in adultery. She made some bad choices, and she found herself in a bad spot. She was thrown into the middle of this circle in the city, and they were ready to stone her. They were basically trying to set up Jesus, like, hey, Jesus, the law says that this woman should be stoned to death because we caught her in the act of adultery. What do you say? Now, there's a whole bunch of different cultural things there. Like, technically, the law said that both parties had to be charged, not just one. So a lot of people think that she was set up from the jump. But anyways, either way, she made a very bad choice, and she found herself in a very bad spot. But Jesus said to her, you know what? Well, he said, all right, you can stone her, but whoever has thrown the first sin, the one who has never sinned, throw the first stone, sorry. But then he says later, where are your accusers? Didn't even one of them condemn you? No, Lord, she said. And Jesus said, neither do I. Go and sin no more. So here's the thing. It's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. No matter what we're dealing with, whether it's doubt or fear, or anxiety or uncertainty or not understanding our own self-worth or depression or any combination of those things, it is okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. Just the way that Jesus called this woman, hey, go and sin no more. I'm not saying that where you're at has anything to do with your own choices or sin or any of that kind of stuff. Please don't hear me say that. What I'm saying is, Jesus loved that woman just the way she was, but he loved her too much to let her stay that way. The same is true for you. Whatever you're going through, God loves you just the way you are, but he loves you too much to let you stay that way. A pastor named Chad Veach said that. So listen, I've said this a bunch of times, but the way to get healing for whatever you're going through is honesty about where you're at, hope in Christ and hope for a better tomorrow, and help from God and from the people around you. So if you need anything, if you're going through a difficult situation, if you're dealing with depression or anxiety or stress or worry or concern or fear or boredom or frustration or just anger at all the things that you're missing, I got you. I'm here for you. Reach out to us on Instagram in the comments. If you have my number, text me. We are still here for you, even though we're not together physically in this building, having a party, celebrating my birthday. We are here for you. I'm here for you no matter what. I love you. You guys are amazing. All right. Hey, sorry, I had a little bit of a technical difficulty there. Something happened with my thing. So what I was saying was, no matter where you're at, no matter what you're going through, no matter what you need, it is okay to not be okay. It is not okay to stay that way. Reach out to somebody. Hey, thank you so much for celebrating my 35th birthday with me today right here at Epic Students Online. If you are in high school, hey, before I do that, let me show you what my wife got me for my birthday. She's so amazing. I love her so much, right? She's just so cool. All right, I got some brand new shoes. Y'all can't see. I can't wear my shoes and show them to you here at my party, so I want to show them to you right here on the camera. I'm so pumped about these. I've been wanting these for a while, and Tiana hooked me up today. So baby, thank you. I love you. You're amazing. But look, thank you guys for joining us tonight. Thank you for being part of my 35th birthday. Even though we're not together physically, I feel the love. I thank you guys so much. I cannot wait to see you guys soon. Sign up for Fine Arts Online. You are a talented bunch of people. We want to celebrate you. join that reading plan. Even if you missed the first 6 or 7 days, jump on, man. Start reading with us where we're at. You don't even have to play catch up. Just jump in and dive into the Word of God. And then also, if you are in high school, watch your text message, Instagram chat, and some other places. We want to see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock for our Zoom call. All right? Hey, I love you guys. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you soon.